Coco Gauff left empty, but is not going to let US Open fourth-round defeat to Naomi Osaka in New York crush her. Coco Gauff crashed out of the US Open in the fourth round, losing in straight sets to Naomi Osaka. The American endured a difficult run in New York, the scene of her maiden Grand Slam triumph, and came unstuck against a resurgent Osaka. It was a chastening 6-3, 6-2 defeat for the 21-year-old, who vows she will not let the result crush her as she seeks to make improvements to her serve. Coco Gauff did not have the US Open campaign she might have hoped, winning 3 rounds in differing circumstances before losing to Naomi Osaka in straight sets. Osaka triumphed 6-3, 6-2 in just over an hour to make the quarterfinals, leaving Gauff with more questions than answers as she begins to think about the rest of her season. The American's serve has been her biggest cause of concern, this time sending down 5 double faults, to go with the 4 she managed in the third round and 8 against Donna Vekic in round 2, a match that saw Gauff in tears at points on the court. Since winning her second slam at Roland Garros earlier this year, Gauff has crashed out in the first round at Wimbledon and has only made 1 quarterfinal, in Cincinnati. I feel like I put so much pressure on myself at my age of 21, and I realize how much the girls on tour are being successful at 25, 26, at those ages, Gauff said after the match. For me, it just gets me excited to realize if I have 4 more years of just working as hard as I am right now and actually doing the right things, where my game could be. Gauff was taken to 3 sets in her opening round match against Ajla Tomljanovic, before admitting that she was feeling the pressure against Vekic in the second round. Although she pulled through on that occasion, crediting Simone Biles in the crowd for inspiring her, Gauff could not find her top form against former Grand Slam champion Osaka. It's disappointing. For sure, it was not the level that I wanted to bring, but it is a step in the right direction, I feel. I maybe was a little bit empty. She forced me to earn every point out there today, Gauff added. I'm trying to be positive in front of you guys. I promise you that I don't feel that way right now, but I am not going to let this crush me. I look forward to the future and making more improvements. Hopefully, next year I can grow a lot as a player and as a person. Gauff appointed biomechanics specialist Gavin McMillan on the eve of the tournament in a bid to arrest the decline that has seen double faults creep more and more into her game. I think where my serve started from the start of the tournament to today was a big improvement. I feel like now I just have to get everything to work together. With the Grand Slams come and gone for her this season, the American seems content not to chase results but rather work on her game, looking ahead to 2026. I know the improvements that I need to make, and I feel like I'm making the right decision by making them. I wish I had more time between this tournament and Cincinnati, but that's the cards that I was given. Whatever happens for the rest of the year, I just want it to be improvement. I don't care about results. I think where my serve started from the start of the tournament to today was a big improvement. I feel like now I just have to get everything to work together. The lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium still glimmered in her mind long after she left its cavernous expanse. The roar of 23,000 fans, some cheering her name, some marveling at Naomi Osaka's artistry, lingered in her ears like a haunting melody. Coco Gauff had been on this stage before. She had felt its pressure, its expectation, its intoxicating possibility. But tonight was different. Tonight, she walked off the court feeling empty. Empty, but not broken. She'd been dismantled by Osaka, the 4-time Grand Slam champion who had returned to Flushing Meadows with a fire Coco herself understood well, the hunger to prove, to reclaim, to rise again. The match lasted barely over an hour, yet to Coco it felt like an eternity compressed into a single, dazzling, dizzying blur. Osaka's forehands exploded like fireworks, her backhands skimmed the net with surgical precision, and Coco's attempts to counter had been met with unrelenting brilliance. When the final ball sailed long and the scoreboard flashed 6-2, 6-1, Gauff stood frozen for a second, absorbing the reality of defeat. She forced herself to smile, to walk to the net with grace, to embrace her opponent. But deep inside, she felt hollow, a shell carrying the weight of months of preparation, expectation, and belief that she could conquer this night. A champion's poise in defeat. Back in the locker room, she sat on the bench, towel over her head, and allowed herself a moment. The cameras were gone. The cheers were gone. It was just Coco, the hum of fluorescent lights, and the soft buzz of tennis bags being unzipped around her. Naomi had been gracious in victory, complimenting Coco's fight and maturity. That mattered, but it didn't soften the sting. This wasn't her first loss, nor would it be her last. But something about this match, this stage, this opponent, this city, cut deeper. Maybe it was because she had believed, truly believed, that this was her year to dominate in New York. Maybe it was because she had lifted the US Open trophy in her dreams 1,000 times, and those dreams had felt so close to reality that they had texture and color. But Coco Gauff wasn't built to wallow. She reminded herself of this as she stared into the mirror and wiped her tears. She was still only 21. She was still a Grand Slam champion, a top-ranked player, a symbol of hope for a generation of tennis fans who saw themselves in her. The loss hurt, but it would not crush her. The weight of stardom. The journey to this point hadn't been easy. From the moment she burst onto the scene at 15, defeating Venus Williams at Wimbledon, Coco had carried the burden of expectation like a seasoned veteran. She was America's next star, the future of women's tennis, the player who would inherit the legacies of Serena and Venus. But no one told her that stardom can be isolating. There were nights on the road when she felt suffocated by the constant scrutiny, every practice session analyzed, every outfit dissected, every Instagram post a headline. Tennis was no longer just a game, it was a business, a brand, a spectacle. And Coco, still navigating her teenage years, had to grow up faster than most. By 2023, she had become a Grand Slam champion, winning the US Open with a display of grit and athleticism that silenced critics. But success came with its own pressures. Suddenly, every tournament was an opportunity to prove that victory hadn't been a fluke. Every loss was a disappointment not just for her, but for the millions of fans who believed in her. And then there was Naomi Osaka. A rivalry of generations. In many ways, Osaka had been the trailblazer. She had faced the same storm of expectations, had carried the weight of representing not one but two nations, and had navigated the complexities of mental health in the unforgiving world of professional sports. Coco admired her deeply. When they first played at the US Open in 2019, Osaka had comforted a tearful 15-year-old Coco in a moment of sportsmanship that would be replayed endlessly. Now, 6 years later, their roles had evolved. Coco was no longer the wide-eyed teenager, she was a seasoned competitor.